All right, we are live. I'll be waiting for about 5 more minutes here, so we can start around 7:30, around 7:36, so that we can have people get their emails that I'm live, and people are seeing my post on Instagram. Okay. Hope everyone had a good week so far. Today's the middle of the trading week. What an insane week that we had on the overall markets and a big move. Okay. Let's see. If anyone's new here, please go ahead and submit your tickers in the chat box. If you guys don't know how this works, you submit your tickers and I do my technical analysis for you on those selected names that you guys want me to do the TA on. So if you guys don't know what TA is, it's an acronym for technical analysis. And if you guys don't know what C.F.O is, it's my company name, Charts Focus 1. Alright. Okay, so we have about 3 minutes left here. I apologize about the extra noise. Alright. So, before I start, I hope people took the opportunity when I posted Bumble and Match yesterday night. And Match is still, today so far, still making a pattern here. Specifically, a nice ascending. Or actually, this is not even an ascending. It's a nice little wedge here. Okay. And it's still building up here, right below 162-ish, but specifically 161.55-ish. And we have direct support around 155.55-ish. So with that in mind, I hope people take more opportunity here, because Bumble was the other name that actually flew today, and I actually caught it right at market open. I got it right below 52. Even though I should have waited for a confirmed bounce to 52.10ish, but it seems like I should have. I got a little bit lucky there with the early entry, but there is a strategy for when I do my early entry trades, so that's something that I go over on my one-on-one mentorship, and so I can't really explain that, or else that's not gonna be fair to the people who are in that program. Okay, we have about a minute left here. I hope you guys have your list set up here. Hey, Sean. Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay. Let's start a little early here. All right, Sean. Let's go over JD. So, as you guys already know, China names have been flying, right? I mean, it's something that everyone knows by now. We've been seeing a decisive bounce overall on Chinese name after these geopolitical conditions that we are facing for most of the Chinese names, and especially tech stocks in China have been absolutely battered as the Chinese financial regulators, they just crack down on whatever fault they can find that these private companies were doing. Now, JD, if you guys didn't know, JD is a competitor to Alibaba. It's an e-commerce name, so it's one of those names that have been kind of benefiting from Alibaba's crackdown on how they were doing business, because Alibaba was making sure that their competitors like JD here wasn't able to have a lot of market share, and they weren't able to expand because of the fact that Alibaba were doing these types of practices. And so what China did was, specifically the Chinese Communist Party did, was that they fined Alibaba for a couple billion, for some other reasons, and then they told them to stop this monopolistic action in the e-commerce space in China. So this tells us that China is doing something that the U.S. should be doing currently, kind of breaking up these big monopolies. But China does a little bit more, in another higher notch, where they go that extra step to make sure that that company knows and it hurts. Right, and that's the reason why these Chinese names have been really hurting. Because I don't think the U.S. would ever want to push down stocks and shares and the overall Chinese market on purpose, right? Because that's what these Chinese people are doing. The Chinese Communist Party is basically doing, right? They don't care. They don't care if they push these company shares down. They only make sure that you are loyal to the Chinese government, and that you are doing fair practices of a capitalist communist economy. Okay, and that's basically what it is in China: a capitalist communist economy. It's somehow a dual economy there, where somehow it works. All right, now, hey Joel, what's up? So with that in mind, all right, JD has been benefiting from this big bounce, and as you guys already know, with JD, e-commerce name, right? And I think JD has a lot of potential as well, not just because of the fact that it's the second most common e-commerce name in China after Alibaba, but I also think that JD also has a huge promise to go international and spread out internationally more, as well as more people from other countries are using JD platform more from Alibaba as well. So I think JD has a good potential for growth. Now, technically here we have, okay, we saw a nice breakout of this base around 80.10ish, and this is the break that I've been waiting for this whole summer of this year, but we didn't see it. Instead, we saw a lot of choppiness, and eventually that breakdown of that choppiness as Chinese names got battered. But what surprised me is that around mid-August, we saw this double bottom bounce here, when all the other Chinese names were just being pushed down, sold off, and people were just getting scared. As that's basically what the Chinese government was doing. They're scaring these investors. So and with JD, I saw money pouring into JD at these lower prices, and these lower prices. I mean, okay, this is pretty much. Let's see, what percentage drop? This is a big percentage drop, right? It's almost a 45% drop here from all-time highs. But this is less of a drop than all the other big, e-commerce names of China, and other private tech companies, company names as well. So this got me thinking that JD has this some type of financial backing and power to move up higher. So that's exactly what happened, right? I saw the inflow of money coming in and kind of acting inversely to all the different Chinese names that are getting battered on the other hand. So with JD, I think it continues higher. It has the highest probability, in my opinion, to be able to move higher, even if even more regulations and fines come out from the Chinese Communist Party against these private companies. So with JD, I think it needs to kind of consolidate from this point on. We did have consecutive green days, or very strong consecutive green days, but it's looking a little bit overextended, especially on the, I would say, on the 2-hour time frame here and the 4-hour time frame. So there we go. So the relative strength index here tells us that right here. I mean, obviously, I don't need this anymore, but for the people who are new here. I am now able to, and this is something that you guys should be working on as well, where you kind of don't need these technical indicators at the bottom to tell you whether or not something's overextended or oversold. But we are overall overbought, and on the 4 hour time frame we're also overbought, and this candle today tells me, right, this inverse hammer candle, almost a gravestone doji, if it became a doji, this tells me that sellers have come in strong, right, and people who rode the way up, let's say for example at this double bottom dip, or maybe even the break of this resistance around 80.10, decide to sell here today, and that would be prudent of them, because if you start consolidating, right, and maybe even digesting this whole move, we might just come back down to around 82, or maybe even test 84 first, right? So most definitely we can test 84 tomorrow, or for the rest of the week. And if it continues to head lower, we'll most likely see a touch of 82. Okay, but if anything comes out in China, if any these constant news comes out, negative news comes out, we can see a sell-off coming back to JD all the way back down to 80.10 to 0.20ish. Okay, so Sean, you said Cliff. All right, so Cliff, they do have earnings. Seems like tomorrow, but I am always not sure of TradingView's ability to have the accurate ER dates here. So let me actually look it up, because I do want to see and when their earnings are at. Okay, so TradingView is correct here. They have earnings on October 22nd pre-market. So I am gonna be waiting for earnings. So Sean, I think you should wait. Honestly here, I mean, first off, we are, we're at a level of resistance here, very close, around $22 here, and it's a pivot point. So if we're able to break up above $22 here through the help of a good ER reaction to the upside, we should see a huge movement towards 23 and eventually up to 24. Now, if you have a bad reaction though, we should see a complete rejection from this level of resistance. And if we have a little tiny pop though, during that bad reaction, we might even touch the 50 SMA and have a nasty pullback from that point on. All right, so I think Cliff here, CLF, Cleveland Cliffs are, like I said, this was a name, and that's it for Swing and Watch. This is something that I think is a great investment into the near-term future, because I liked what the CEO was doing, and they're basically making themselves one of the main suppliers of steel, which is a commodity as well. So this is a name that I'm going to be looking out for in the next 2 to 3 years here. On JD Leaves, I would say, if you're gonna buy Leaves, Sean, look, for example, if you buy them tomorrow, right? I would say not to, but let's say for example you did, right? So let's say you just bought randomly at a random price. What would you do then, right? So you can actually start averaging in, or basically doing the same dollar cost averaging type of strategy, since dollar cost averaging is specifically for equity, for shares, but if you have option contract leaps, and if you decide to buy randomly tomorrow, even if it's not really a nice or good idea, right, I would say you would need to have a lot of capital in hand, since leaps do tend to be obviously going to be a lot more expensive. The more time that you have, more safety, but with JD leaps, I would say wait first of all. But if you decide to buy them tomorrow, have a lot of capital in hand, and if you're buying leaps, buy them one contract at a time, a single contract. Okay, uh, it might be very tempting to go all in on leaps, but that's where a lot of people screw up, because when they buy in leaps, they think they can hold on for a long time, right? They think they can hold on for a long time and think they can hold on for the bigger move into the near-term future as an investment. But most people do not have that patience, right? So go in with singular contracts and average down on every single bounce after a move lower, and that's how you continue to hold on to leaps patiently. Okay. All right, Sean. And that's it for your watch list there. But Cliff, for sure, wait until earnings come out on pre-market this Friday. I will highly advise you. Okay, tomorrow, right? Since tomorrow is Thursday though, there might be a push, right? Like we just saw today, into earnings, right? Because sometimes stocks can run up into earnings, and it looks like that's what's happening today. Because we have an outside day here, a bullish outside day compared to this previous candlestick here. And this tells me that today was controlled by bulls, and most likely tomorrow we might see this break above 22 and eventually hit around 22.45ish. And then maybe, just maybe, we might break above the 50 SMA just because of the fact that there's people trying to run up this name into earnings. And tomorrow, right before market close, there's probably going to be a lot of selling and taking profits into this name, as if and only if we break above the 50 SMA and $22 here of this resistance. And also there's also going to be another inflow of money of people who are wanting to gamble this earnings, which I highly do not advise you to do. Right. So tomorrow, most likely, your best chance of getting any type of profit from this name is a day trade on this tomorrow above $22. Okay, based on what I'm seeing today. Sean, does that make sense? Okay, they gave me a thumbs up there. So if you don't have any other submissions here, I do want to go over a trade here. So not Airbnb, it was actually Neo here. So if I were to actually let's make this to one screen. There we go. That's where I have all my lines here. So Neo is a name that I've been touting a lot because I really love this huge macro falling wedge pattern here, and this is a name that I think has a lot of potential to move up higher, and I caught this move from here. From mid 33s to 34s, all the way up to around 40 to almost 41, right? So 40 to around 40.50. And so I am going to be coming back into this name if I see another dip. But this is a name that you guys should be watching out for the next few weeks as we come back down and consolidate around 38.50 to around 39. So that's basically what I'm anticipating the price to come back down to. But if you don't, we might just find nice support here around 39 and flag around 39 to 40. All right. Hey, Morris. Glad to see you back. I hope vacation was great. Yeah, okay, so pen. Oh, nice. That's exactly where I got out too. 40.50 and 40. Nice. Glad that you caught that. Okay, so pen. Right, so pen was initially looking very bearish to start the week here, since to start the week here, since on Friday we had this almost a gravestone doji as well here, and this just told me that buyers are weak, especially with these large wicks at the top, but that volume came in on Friday, so this tells me this told me that there's a potential for us to come back down and possibly retest this ascending level support here, which you should also have in your chart here, since we can most likely touch this again if we see a lot of selling volume come in again. Now, obviously, yesterday we had this big breakout overall, as most names were really just breaking out and having their one of their best days on for October here. and it broke out above this level here that I was looking at around 78.50 to around 79, and really started to push out. But with pen, this is very low volume here on this breakout, right? And this tells me that there were no conviction from the buyer's side, where they wanted to push this name higher above 80 and stay above 80. Because if we were to stay above 80, that would have been the pivot point to bring this name back upwards towards 85 and eventually break out above 85 and come back towards the 90s and possibly back above this daily 200 SMA here, okay, which is also very close to the 90s. So this $80 here, Morris, is your official pivot point to the upside. All right. And once we're able to break above 80 and hold that 80 for a considerable amount of time with enough volume, we should be able to see a lot more buying coming in and conviction in this name as we head back towards 85.50 to around 86. Okay, so for now, we did see more sellers coming than yesterday's on buying volume, and this tells me that we will most likely retest the 77.30-ish level of previous resistance, and maybe just maybe use as support. And if we do use this as support, we're going to be aligned both all three of these SMAs here. So the 10 and the 21. So the 10 is the red one, 21 is my light blue one, and then a dark blue one is my 50. So this is going to, if you're able to hold above 77.30-ish, we should be able to see these SMAs coiling upwards here, that like we're seeing now, which is good, right? All major SMAs here, right here, they're all coiled up together like this, ready for a full-on breakout, and they're coiling upwards. Okay, so this tells me that the uptrend is still intact after this breakout, which was a very weak breakout, but we just need a retest and a conviction of these buyers to come back in, right? This confidence of buyers. Okay, so that's basically our levels there. If we do break 77.30 though, expect a complete rundown to around 76, and expect another small bounce from there, and then another sell-off into 75. Okay, so just watch out for that, and you should be good. Just watch out for these really significant price levels that Penn is showing here, and anything between these price levels, it's just gonna be chop, right? So watch out for that initial significant reaction the price has on reaching these specific price levels, whether it's to the downside or to the upside. I hope that makes sense, Morris. Also, to all the new people in here, I am officially restarting my 4 weeks program next week. Okay, and I am also doing something very new, where I am actually going to be looking to have a team of of new women traders. All right, so these female traders, I want to train at least 4 to 5 female traders and see how they do, because it's always been men who've been doing good. But then when I've had female traders in the past here as my students, they actually did phenomenally better than the average of the men. So I want to see how these female traders do, and so I'm also going to post on my Instagram here. If you guys have sisters, friends, girlfriends, wives, even, okay, and you want them to trade, right, or they're interested in it, right? You guys know who to come to, right? Check out my website, chartsfocus1.com, and I'll leave a link here for you guys. But just for you guys to know, I am going to be starting the 4 weeks program next week. Officially, I'm restarting it since people have been asking it. And let me get this Discord out the way here. I do need. Just give me 1 second, guys. Here. All right. Let me get my links for you all to post here. But yeah, if you guys have any female trade, people who are looking to really get into trading and really learn, please send them over, and tell them about the 4 weeks program, and lead them to my website, and I'll give you guys this short link here but we will be officially starting next week for the month of December. Not December, November. I'm jumping the gun here. So here is the Forex program. There we go. Let me replace that pin. Okay, so you guys can copy and paste wherever you guys want to put that. Yeah, so if any of you guys want to join the Forex program, I highly recommend you guys to do so. There's only 10 maximum seats each round. And I have to assure you, they fill up pretty quick. Okay, every single time I do the Forex program, they always get filled up to 10 seats, and I always end up having to have people wait for the next round. All right, so you guys, if you guys really are interested, I would highly recommend that you guys either save your seat now or next week. But I would honestly say, if you have the time to do it now, I would, because they do get filled up pretty quickly. Okay, that's basically what I want to tell you all here. Let's look at a name. Again, Bumble, for people who just came in here. So if any of you guys didn't look at my my Instagram post from last night, I did tell you all that about Match and Bumble here, right? So if I come back to a dual screen here, so let's take our sign out of here. So Match, right? I told you guys to look at Match and Bumble. All right, and there's an opportunity here for today, and it seems like only around few people took this opportunity. So this tells me that people hesitate when there's actual opportunity. All right, highly probable opportunity, and I like to look at highly probable setups. All right, and it always amazes me when people are even hindering on such highly opportunistic probable potential trades, right? And even if I provide it, right? Even if I provide it. So this just tells me about the human nature of us wanting to hold out and not take the opportunity. But that's something that I also go over on my Forex program and how to overcome that. And I even go even deeply into that and kind of go along with you to figure out what kind of personality you have in my one-on-one mentorship as well. So if you're interested in that program as well, you guys can also look into that as well on my website. So Bumble. Let me break down what I did here, actually. Okay, so Bumble here, we saw, okay, so Bumble, I got in exactly, all right, around 52, okay, and I got in around this candlestick right here. So my entry was around 52 and 52.10ish, all right, and I was like, okay, we see a nice little tiny gap fill from yesterday's close, but we didn't fill the gap right away, all the way too either. So this tells me that we are a bit bullish, right? Because whenever we fill in a gap like this, other than SPY here, SPY is a little bit different on how the price acts when it fills up gaps, either to the upside or to the downside. But for stocks, when these types of regular stocks don't fill the gap after a nice gap up, this tells me that there's a lot of strong buyers in this name, right? Especially today. And so we saw a nice movement up, and I thought we could see a nice breakout above the 52.70-ish resistance that I was looking to have this name break out of, but we rejected, right? Did I panic? No, because I had my stop loss set, right? I have a $1 stop loss set from my entry. So anything below a 51 or anything that's below the previous low of the day here, which is around $51 here, pretty close here, which would tell me that I need to get out, right? And so it's essential that you guys know where your stop loss is, right? And you guys have a stop loss in mind and set up before you get into a trade. Now, I added more contracts at this double bottom bounce here, okay? Because I saw it came right back down and now it's a little bit below my entry here, and it was touching the low of the day that we made early in the morning here, 30 minutes after market open here. So I took that risk there and I got in, and we blasted right off. So this is what the stock just needed today: a double bottom bounce, all right, and a reconviction of buyers to come back into this name, and it absolutely just rocketed off. Now I did notice that we had a very low volume going into this level of resistance. And so this tells me that there is a huge level of resistance on the daily time frame, okay, around 53 to almost 54, right? How would I know this anyways? First of all, if we didn't see today's price action, well, just take a look at these two candlesticks, okay, and take a look at here, right? There's a lot of selling going on here. All right, so it's best that you guys always take a look at the previous price action history. All right, and obviously when you're looking at specific price levels as well. So Bumble, amazing trade today. Okay, I'm still holding some contracts. I did take profits on discounts like here. When we came right back down to 52.70ish, obviously I could have gotten out more. I could have gotten out more of this trade from here. But you know, it's still a good trade right here. This is pretty good. Okay, so I'm still going to be holding on to my last two contracts here, and see what's happening. What could happen tomorrow, right? Because overall, these SMAs are also pointing upwards, especially the 10 here. So if we have a crossover tomorrow above the 21, this just solidifies the fact that I would be able to hold on to these contracts for a little longer, as the 10 SMA supports the price action upwards here. So my ultimate PT here is 55, and if you do break out of 55 here, I would say we have a nice potential to go back upwards to 57. Okay, so don't miss your opportunity, especially for match. Match didn't go off today, but and Bumble did. But we are about to have, or we did actually have a golden cross today, where the 50 SMA moves up above the 200, and we're forming a nice little tiny micro symmetrical triangle here, a wedge. And then if you guys want to take a look at the overall big picture chart here, we are facing a lovely textbook bull flag here. So we have the pole right here, and then the flat top at the resistance and the flat support at the bottom, and we have our nice textbook bull flag. And why do we say textbook bull flag? Well, because that's how most technical books, technical analysis books, have their bull flags like this, right? This is how the bull flags are drawn here and shown, and because this is exactly a textbook bull flag here. So overall, we have a huge macro. Okay, macro meaning big macro, big picture chart pattern here, which is a bull flag. And now on a daily time frame, okay, on a daily time frame, we have a macro symmetrical triangle or wedge. Remember, they're both synonymous names on the daily chart pattern. So if we're able to break above 161.55 tomorrow, we should see a huge run up above to 165. Okay, because this name, when it breaks out, it breaks out with conviction. Okay, I've seen this name literally break out huge over the over let's say 3 to 5 trading day span. So this is something that you guys might want to not miss, since I am showing you a very highly probable trade here. And eventually my price target will be 167.50, where you can actually take off half of your profits and potentially hold on longer for a breakout above 167.50 back into 170s, and ultimately into all-time highs. And here's something that my girlfriend also was telling me as well. Match and Bumble can actually be a very opportunistic play here, because as we're getting into this cozy season of Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? People are going to be wanting more relationships, right? and this is for real. I fully agree with her. Match, as you guys already know, Match is a dating conglomerate. They own Tinder, they own OkCupid, they own every single literal online dating brand, except for Bumble, right? Bumble is its own company, but both of these names should be able to have a nice run up into the rest of this year. Okay, so this with all this basically factors, these catalysts lining up here, I think both of these names are very good for the rest of the year, unless price action completely negates my plan here. Am I positioned in Match or Bumble? Because I am in Bumble. Yeah, currently right now. I'm still swinging Bumble. I have November contracts. November 19th contracts, specifically $60 strike contracts. But I am not in Match yet because, well, I mean, my alerts didn't go off, right? I want to get in at the breakout above 161.50, if that makes sense, right? I want to make sure I'm getting that perfect entry for my trade. So I am not in Match, but I'm definitely in Bumble. Anyone have any questions? So on my poll on Instagram, if you guys didn't see that poll yet, I think it's like more than 70% of people didn't take advantage today on Bumble. So make sure you guys watch. I mean, I'm not telling you guys to buy in right away. Remember, you can't just take my word for it, right? You just remember to watch the price action. That's even more important than what I'm saying currently right now, right? So make sure you guys are getting in at the levels, at the break of these significant levels, right? Even if I'm saying that all these catalysts and factors are lining up for me, even if I say anything that sounds bullish, there's some people who are gonna be like, oh, that means I have to go all in, right? And so that's not what I mean, right? Make sure you guys are seeing and looking at the charts when the market is live. Okay. Price target for Baba, Sean, 270 for me. Long term 270, and then eventually the next 5 to 10 years, I would say above 300. But Sean, here's the thing though, with Baba, they are really, really changing their business model, and I believe they have something new that came out today, with Jack Ma's appearance. Um, I think they have a new, yeah, so they have a new chip. Yeah, I don't know if they're funding this chip or they developed it, but they're launching a new server chip to boost their cloud business to challenge Amazon. Apparently, according to CNBC here, and if they have a really successful cloud business, they can literally go against Amazon and Google, right? And so Baba can become one of those huge names in the near term future, 5 to 10 years. And right now, the price that you can get it at right now per share it will be completely microscopic to where Baba can potentially be in, because Baba can be a $1,000 name like Amazon and Google. So well, it can be a $3,000 name like Amazon or $2,000 name like Google. So Baba can be really something that you guys should really look into, especially getting leaps and shares for your long-term portfolios. But for me, short in like maybe a span of a year or so, I would say Baba has a price target for me for 270 to 300. Okay, so that's kind of my outlook on that. But let's look at Baba though. Yeah, Baba's still messy. If you're trying to get in right now, I would say it's a little late. Since we just had a lot of selling volume coming in today, we can most likely come back down to 169 or 170, which I could also have another opening position on Baba again for me. I've been opening up a lot of positions on Baba. Okay, so if anyone else have any more questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat, or it's if you guys have any more names that you guys want me to go over, or else I will be ending this live in about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, but thank you all. First of all, I really appreciate everyone of coming to this live here every single weekday, because it really wouldn't be possible without you guys here. How far do I usually take contracts? That's a great question. So, if anyone doesn't know what type of trading I do swing trading. So, depending, first of all, Sean, I look at basically 2 to 3 different parameters before I choose a strike price, right? And the expiration date. I first off look at um, how the technical analysis is for a specific chart, how it looks like, right? And how much probable time that I would need on these contracts for the stock to have enough room to move before it makes this big breakout out of a specific level that I'm watching out for. So usually when I swing though, okay, basically those are my parameters there. When I swing, I usually have at the very least minimum 2 weeks out minimum, okay, and then maximum I will try to look for, especially for swing trades specifically, will be either from 1 month to around 2 months, okay. But if I'm looking for a position trade or investment, I will always look into leaps, right? Because it's great to see my option investments turn into really good returns as these options mature. Okay, so it's something that that's what I basically do. And if I day trade, I look at weekly contracts, which are a lot more volatile. So I hope that kind of gave you a general answer there, Sean. I do go a lot more deeper into how I trade in my one-on-one mentorship, so I apologize. I can't go deeply into that. That would be really, really unfair to my past students and my current one-on-one mentorship students I have right now. So I hope you understand, man, Sean. It's just something I can't really tell you. I gotta keep it fair, man. I gotta keep it fair in a very unfair market, right? So, with BA, okay, so we have our next name here, BA, and I also answered that question as well. Morris here. So BA, this is a name that I've been constantly checking, but I do have my alerts on, and I do have my alerts around 216, and it's been going off the past 3 days, on and off. So my alerts are always on for repeat. But BA, I like that it's holding around 216. Now, the only problem with BA, okay, is there's a lot of selling going in. All right. I did not like how we weren't able to hold up above 229 and eventually break above 230 and stay above 230. And we saw a huge rejection and continuous selling and not even holding every single major support that I was looking at. Right. 219, 223.50. 226, right? And even this descending level of support here that we're supposed to be holding, like we've been so far right here, last week and last week. So this tells me that sellers here is really heavy. I highly doubt that BA will be able to come back up above and break out again out this huge descending channel that we have here. But if we see a huge influx of volume and buying going in, I would say that's only possible for day trades. Like example for today, this is perfect, right? We this is most likely just day trading volume that we had today and the price action that we had. And obviously there's a lot of selling that came in at the end of the day, as also the markets kind of sold off throughout the rest of the day. And bounced at the last second there. If you guys are watching the market close. But for BA, I expect further downside movement. We're not even we're not even oversold at all. And we have a lot more room to go back to the downside. Eventually, we might even hit 206, or around 205 to 206 again. And that, I wouldn't be mad if we come back down to 205 to 206, because that would be another test of this huge support. But at the same time, obviously, who likes stocks to go down, right? But for BA, I short term, okay, overall short term, conclusive short term is we head lower, we reject off of 217 to 216 and head lower and eventually start bouncing around 210 here, which is our next level of significant support that we have, and we should be able to see a nice significant bounce at 210. If not, you guys already know I said this already. 204 to 205 to 206. will be our significant level of next support that we have there. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if you're able to catch this the downside, that this is a big move. So I would highly recommend that if you're looking to play this name, I would say you can. The technicals here, especially my SMAs here, all curving to the downwards, right? They're curling down to the downside. And today we had a confirmation today as well that the 10 is now crossing below the 21 SMA, which is completely bearish sign. The momentum is to the sellers is what basically this crossover means. It's basically what's telling me. And especially if the 10 and 21 both cross lower and cross below the 50 estimate, that even gives me more confirmation. All right. Yeah, depending way more than when greed sets in. Yeah, you're completely right. So for a name like BA though, it does trade a lot wacky. How do I know? Because I've studied Boeing's price action for the past almost 2 years now. And I highly recommend that you guys always study price action on whatever name that you're looking at. But for Boeing, it's something that you guys should always be on the lookout for because of the fact that Boeing has such a wacky and actually really crappy price action compared to anything else, any other liquid name. So I've always wondered why Boeing has such crappy price action when it's actually a pretty liquid name, pretty good volume here. So that's something you guys should be watching out for as well. But yeah, Morris, that's basically my overall analysis for BA. And so let me answer your question there. So what time frame do I usually enter my trades? Okay, so I use 5 minutes and then the 15 minutes. Oops. Okay, let's go back. Let's do that. Okay, so 5 minute and the 15 minute. Why? Right? So when I'm looking at the 5 minute time frame, right? Usually I tend to look at the 15 minute first, but if I want to look at the 5 minute, the only reason why I want to look at 5 minute is that I want to see more data. And what I mean by data, I want to see more candlesticks. Why? Because I want to see how the price is behaving even more on a micro time frame, right? Because 5 minutes it's a very small time frame compared to the usual bigger time frames I look at on the hourlies, the daily and weekly. So when I do my entries, I want to have pretty good entries. I mean, who doesn't want good entries, right? Obviously, I'm never going to have 100% perfect entries, but I'm always want to gain a better edge for my system of trading by getting perfect entries that I want, right? So, it's something that I'm trying to really better myself for the next few years as well. Since if first off, guys, if you ever meet a trader, this is something I really want to tell you guys who say they've mastered they've mastered learning from the stock market, and they have a 100% foolproof strategy for the market. They're lying, right? That's full of horseshit, right? Because good traders are always learning from the stock market. All right, you guys should never feel like there's a moment where you feel like, oh man, I'm done. I'm done learning. I've completely mastered the market. I will now be making millions. Right? That's not true. The only way you make millions is by constantly learning every single trading day or every single time you trade. Right? So you should never ever fall into that trap of someone telling you that there's this foolproof system, this diamond, this diamond-backed trading system that's going to help you get this completely outrageous return and percentage return, right? That's something that you guys should always look out for. I will never say that because that's not true. That's honestly not true. That's BS, right? I'm always learning. Even if I have 4.5 years experience, I'm always going to be indebted to the market to be teaching me, right? And you only get better because of the fact that you focus on the market to be teaching you every single time you come in to trade or every single time you trade. All right, and that's my little tiny rant of the day. So if you guys, I really hope that you guys take that to heart. So it's always a learning lesson, no matter what experience that you guys have or what background that you guys have. Okay, it always humbles you when you think like that as well. So that's something that I really wanted to tell everyone. since social media has always made people to be very very gullible these days. Okay, so Morris, with the 5 minute to 15 minutes time frames, okay. Um, I like I said, when I want to look at more candlesticks, so for more data, right? I always look at it as if they're data, right? Because it's basically what it is, right? We have numbers and we have some charts, right? As data, like a lab data, right? So uh, if I want to use more precise entries and see where I can have a more precise entry, I'll be looking at the 5 minute time frame. But if I'm inundated with too much data, too much information, and I can't comprehend what I'm seeing in the 5 minute chart. And what I mean by that is if I can't see the overall trend that's going on in the 5 minute time frame, I'm gonna go further out on a bigger time frame on the 15 minute time frame. And there's obviously going to be less data. Why? Well, because each candlestick is 5 minutes, right? And within one 15-minute candlestick, there's going to be three 5 minute candlesticks, right? So 1 to 3, right? So obviously, on the 15-minute time frame, we're going to have less data, but a clear vision, a clear trend that you can actually see. Okay, does that make sense, Morris? Of why I use the 5 minute and the 15 minute. I always have them side by side before I enter into anything. And also, I also use the 5 and 15 minute as my exit points as well. But I do that rarely because when I look for exits, I always depend on the daily time frame because I want to get the bigger picture profit target, right? I don't want to get out too early or get out too late. And that's how I increase my edge there. I hope that made sense. Okay, so I am going to end this live stream today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this live as well. So if you guys didn't know, I have a time change, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time and 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, because more people tend to get in later in the night. Because I don't know if people are laying in their bed watching this live, or they just like to relax later on into the night, as they don't have anything else to do. So I really thank you all for first of all just really attending. That's just even clicking on my video really helps. And if you guys want to do more, that little tiny a little appreciation for me doing this live, I mean it would be great if you guys give me a thumbs up in the live below as well, on this video below. That'd be very helpful for the YouTube algorithm as well. So thank you very much for attending, and as always, this wouldn't be possible at all without you guys. So I really appreciate you guys for attending as always. So please tune in next week, Monday and Wednesday. So it's only Mondays and Wednesdays now. So next week on Monday, I'll see you guys again. So I really hope everyone that you guys have a great rest of your trading week, and you guys have a great rest of this weekend as well as we're heading into this weekend. Okay, stay safe and have a great night, everyone. I'll see you all next Monday. Thank you, everyone, for attending.